What's good? What's good, family? What's good, YouTube? They Live, We Sleep, Part 4, the Nagas Wildman Connection. I go by the name Pushy Push. Down below is my TikTok at pushy.push. Definitely check out those videos over there. Also, drop a like and subscribe right here to my YouTube, Pushy Push. But let's get into Part 4. So, I originally wasn't going to talk about this subject right here, but someone left a comment asking me to look into the Nagas Asia connection. And it made sense to me, because in part 3, I talked about the wild man in Egypt and how it's bloodlined with the Egyptians, and also showed how that same bloodline is connected to the patriarchs in the Bible. So it made sense to talk about that time period right there. So I'm going to speak about the Nagas because all of this was before AD. These things were before um Christianity or anything like that. This is BC right here. So, in order to understand the Nagas, we have to know the signs and the symbols towards what they mean because, you know, um, everything has dual meanings today. So, an image that we see might look and have a different meaning today versus 3,000 years ago. That same image had a totally different meaning. And a lot of the images that we look at today were rejected images that are now like in a accepted situation. So right here with this coin, it's going to help illustrate, some of the signs and break down this bloodline that goes as far back as the Egyptian and the Nagas itself. So I want to start on the right side. So I'm going to change the screen right here. We can look a little bigger. We'll start on this right side right here. So I'm going to speak blatantly and say exactly what it is and then try to show you that that is what I'm saying. So the sun represents a male. In the ancient days, 4,000 years ago, the sun symbol always represented the male. And what this is saying is that the wolf and the male has been spliced together. So basically a werewolf, what we would call it today, when you have a male and a animal like this blended together, that is what we call a werewolf. So down below by the wolf's foot, there is the male symbol. So right on the gold bar, you can look up where the sun is. That is a male. And it's saying that the male has this animal blood in it. And that example would look like this. This is an example of what the coin is showing, that the male has this wolf blood in it. And this is what it looks like during this time period. So we're talking about things that was probably existing 3,000 years ago, a long time ago. These things do not carry this form like this anymore. They have evolved through the mingling with regular people. But that is what the coin is showing. The coin is showing that the sun, which right there is the male down below, and it is mixed with the dog or the werewolf. And this is the image that you would see right here. And the one to the right, it's in Latin, it says Father of the Ancient Dragon. So we'll kind of see what that means right there. But when we look to the left side on this coin, you see a dragon. You see the eye underneath the dragon, all that right there. I consider that like the old dinosaur. There were dinosaurs that had feathers, but it has this dragon image right here, and it's sitting with the moon in the mouth. So the moon is the female, like the sun is the male, the moon is the female. So down below, underneath the moon, you can see the female symbol right there. So she supposed to have this ancient dinosaur DNA in her, like they've succeeded with the merging of this. So definitely, as you can see, this is all science right here. This is all chemistry. This is all alchemy, even thousands of years ago. But the female has this dragon or dinosaur DNA in her. And let me give you an example. This Michael Jackson cover right here kind of really explains it. If you look, you can see that the female right here, the black girl, what is she holding in her hand? She's holding a dragon's head or a dinosaur's head. So the female, the moon is the female, and the female has the dragon DNA in her. This is all BC. This is all before uh, Christ's comings or anything like that. If you look to the top, you see the dog sitting on the throne. So this is the same thing as the dog man sitting on the throne right there. If you look on the coin, go back, there's the dog man right there. So it's showing the dog man sitting on the throne. You see the girl holding the skull right there. So she's the moon, and the dog man, he's the sun, wolf man. If you go back here on the coin, that is what you're looking at. The little girl was holding the dragon's head. So the moon is the female, and the female has that blood in her. It's ancient. And the male has this animal dog blood in him. And this is where it all starts to tie in, because if you look above this man's shoulders right here, above his shoulders, there are two small tiny pillars above his shoulder, and it shows a snake wrapped around it. And if you notice, the moon is on the opposite side. So the sun is on the left and the moon is now on the right. And what this is saying is that the female has this snake DNA in her, and along with this wolf DNA. So she has this dragon dinosaur DNA. She has a snake's DNA and a wolf's DNA. She has all three DNAs in her. And that image would look like this. So you see the female right there. She has the dinosaur ancient dragon blood in her. She has the snake DNA in her. And she also has the wolf DNA in her. That is the reason why you see the pole on the right side of his shoulder, showing that she has all three DNAs. And the same thing on the left side. So the guy now has the snake DNA, the wolf DNA, and the ancient dragon or dinosaur DNA. So they both now have this same DNA. And this is where this guy come into play, because they're sitting on both of his shoulders. So do you think that this is saying that he has the DNA of both sides? If you look at his hand is not holding anything. That is a drop of his blood that is getting ready to go inside of this container. And if you look inside of the container, everybody associates this right here to biblical. But this is why I was showing in part 3 that the wild man is all in the Bible, and a lot of those images are the image of the wild man right here. What makes this so unique right here is we've seen this before. You've actually watched a movie that tried to explain this to you, but it's Hollywood. So let's look at that. That movie right there is Underworld. It's the exact same thing that we was just looking at on the coin right there. So if you look at the left, the female is the moon. She is the vampire. Got to look at that right there. So if the male on the right has the wolf, that's the werewolf. And you see the dragon with the female, that is the vampire. If you have snake blood in you, you are the vampire right there. So she is a vampire. You see on the right, the character with the wings. Do you think that is the young person inside of this bottle right here? Like something was created, you know, when you go and you look down below, you see the female, which is the vampire, and then you look behind her, the male is the werewolf. So you go back to that coin, the male, which is the sun, and it shows the werewolf is the werewolf. The female, which is right here in her symbol, which is the moon on the left, has this dragon DNA in her, or old dinosaur DNA, which makes her like a vampire. And now it seems like as time progressed, they all have the same DNA. So they all possess the same DNA. But this right here comes literally out of Underworld. Like Underworld was literally telling you of this right here. And it is true. I'm going to show this, that there was a bloodline fight. Like it seemed like they didn't want these two sides to come together in order to form this entity that sits inside of this bottle right here. But when you look at this angel, it's not an angel. It is actually the Baphomet. The Baphomet, it has the wings, it holds the snakes in its hand. This just doesn't look beastly. And that was the point that I've been saying with part one, two, and three, is that they no longer look beastly anymore. They look and walk around normal like everyone else, even from this man right here. He has the DNA in him, but you don't see wings on his back. They look normal. This is just showing you the DNA that exists inside of them right here. So another point with the Bible, maybe there was some success in Genesis. Let's look at Genesis real quick. It said in Genesis 1:26, then God said, let us make man in our image. Let us make man, us, plural, more than one, man, which is male and female, in our image, after our likeness. I wonder what those gods look like, because is this the make man in our image? Are we looking at Genesis 1:26 right here? Are they making man in their image by mixing this DNA? Well, this has great implications, because this would show that whatever bloodline that existed in the ancient time was not exterminated, and it wanted to continue its bloodline. And I think that that is what we're dealing with today, is the continuance of that bloodline right there. So let's go a little further. This symbol right here is exactly what's on the coin. It's just now, everything is in the form of signs and symbols, versus thousands of years ago, they would blatantly tell you. But this is literally on that coin. So you see this, the bird wing, and you see the snake right there. That pole represents the body of a person, and the snake and the wings is the DNA grafted in. If we go back right here, you see the young man in the bottle. His body, his body is the pole, the wings, and the snake. This is the real image, and then this is them symbolically making that image right there. This is the exact same thing, and I'm going to show you why, again, this pole right here is considered to be the body. But this also gets a lot deeper. If you look at this coin, if you notice, the snake is on top and the wings is on the bottom. And on this coin, the wings is on the top and the snake is on the bottom. And what you have is a bloodline. This is one bloodline. So the most ancient bloodline was one with the snake on top and the bird wings on the bottom. That was, seems right here, this is the more ancient. And this right here seems to be more newer right here. And these two fight each other. So this is what you saw right here in this underworld. So to this far left, bottom left, the vampire and the werewolves, those types didn't get along with each other. And obviously there was a creation, but this creation has always been science. So we got to keep that in mind. It's always been science. It's not someone who is sleeping with sheeps or sleeping with dogs. No, this is laboratory right here. So that is what you're seeing right here. The snake at the top, like at the bottom, bird at the top. This order right here is actually what's running our world. This is the bloodline that is running our world. And I'm going to show this right here. This is the ancient bloodline that was running the world. So the Nagas, those like the Egyptians and the Nagas, those people use this symbol right here where the snake is above the bird. And the more newer people, like the Romans, they use this symbol right here. So this is of the new world and this new bloodline that has conquered the old. And I'll show that right here. This right here is the Queen of England's pendant. She hands this out to all her knights and onto all her dignitaries, everybody who's important to her. That is who she gives this pendant to right here. And I want to give you a close up to this. This can easily look like racism, but it's not racism. This is a bloodline. And it really requires a mature understanding. This is a bloodline right here. You have the snake and say the black person. So you remember the black girl, she was holding the dinosaur head. So you have the black or the Egyptians who had this ancient blood in them. This is why you see the black person down there, but they have the dragon wing and the dragon body underneath them. So they have the ancient blood that was on that coin right there. He is mixed with the snake, the dragon, and the dog. Now you have a new order. And if you notice, he's in the Roman gear. So this new order, this new bloodline, they don't look like this. But this is a bloodline, and these two bloodlines are fighting each other. So right now, the world is under this bloodline that is on top. So the bloodline on the bottom is the Nagas, it's the Egyptian. They were defeated. And now the Romans, that's why you see him dressed up like that. That is the new order. And we are underneath this bloodline. So you remember the coin that showed the bird on top and the snake on the bottom. Let's go back. Bird on top, snake on the bottom. This order is in power now today. Thousands of years ago, it was 4,000 years ago, the Egyptian, the Nagas, they were in power. They're not in power anymore. How do you know? Because it sits on the queen's pendant. It shows that the bird is on top of the snake. That's what's going on. It's always been a bloodline war. And what's crazy is we as people, we are proxies in this. When those kings and queens who have this bloodline in them go to war, they have people like us fight these wars. They're not actually fighting. They're mingling and continuing their existence and using us to fight their wars. So this is the reason why, I keep calling this video, They Live, We Sleep, because we don't believe that this exists right here. That is what you're looking at right here. This whole thing is a bloodline. All of this is one big bloodline, and they fight within each other right here. So again, you see the female, she was the first. She has the dragon DNA in her. And then you see the male on the right, which is the son. He had the wolf DNA. And then you see above the man's shoulder, they inherit all of each other's DNA, which brought out this creation in the middle right here. And this creation in the middle right here, the bloodline that extends from it is in power. That is what you're looking at right here. This is not an angel, but I will say that your patriarchs, like say Isaiah, Ishmael. All these people are bloodline to this right here. Anybody who is related to Adam is bloodlined and has this DNA in them. Even if you say Adam is black, it still comes back that that DNA is in them, and that DNA has been passed. And that is what this coin is showing right here. Where's it at? Right there. That is what this coin is showing. Is this entity right now is the one that is in power right now. The old has been defeated. And this entity poses as regular people in the world, so you can easily think that they're like you. But again, you see that man's hand. It is dropping the DNA into the bottle. See, this is all bloodline. This is who is in power today. You look at this as a medical symbol right here, and you go there and they're the ones who's giving you the pharmakia, so you got to kind of think about that. Does this bloodline want you to live? you know you got to think about that, because this is a species that has been taking over the world. And I'm saying literally, the romans the Roman Empire descends from this bloodline, just like the Egyptians descend from this bloodline. And then you have people in the world who are not a part of this at all. Here is another piece right here. So you can know that it does come from the queen. Why would she pass this pendant out? This is letting you know that this isn't fake. It has nothing to do with racism. It's so easy to attach that because of what we're going through. But this image is a conversation that is like 3,000 years old. Like I said, the image of a winged person was not looked as an angel 3,000 years ago. That is pre-Bible, that image has been like reclassified, changed around. That image right here, any part of them, the black side with wings, the white side with wings, they were rejected. People did not like them. People did not like the Egyptians. The Egyptians was an ancient bloodline of reptilian snake animal people, and they look normal. This is the reason why when you look on the Egyptian statues and everything, you can catch them with a bird image of a man, and then next to the man, he's looking normal. It's because they look normal. There was a time where they had a beastly figure, but they don't anymore. And the thing is to understand that this is all DNA. All of this is DNA. So how does this like connect into the Nagas? Right here. This is the Nagas 3,000 years ago. I want you to see something right here. Uh, you see the wild man on the bottom, and you see the person on the top. That is considered the pole. You see below, you see the wings, and then you see at the top, you see the snake. If you look, the pole is the body. Below is the wings. On top is the snake. Here's the Naga. On top is the snake. The wing is on the bottom. The pole has always represented a body. So this is showing you the evolution of this beast into a man with this DNA. If you notice, it's in the form of a blood drop. So if we go back right here, look at this man's hand. He's not holding that. He's dropping his blood in, and you see it's what? Green. You go back here, it's a blood drop. And this right here is what this has always been. So your medical symbol, let's go back here. Your medical symbol, that pole is Nagas. That pole is the body. It's two people's bodies emerging into a regular person using these two DNAs right here. Go back to the Nagas. That is what that is right there. The wild man on the bottom is evolved into a regular person. You see the wings, You see the snake on top, wings on the bottom. That's what that is right there. Snake on top, wings on the bottom. The pole is the body. And that is what you're looking at with our current medical symbol. So the current medical symbol is Nagas. There's a bean on the top and a bean on the bottom. That is what that pole represents, the evolution and merging of the DNA. This is not about health. That's why I said I had to start from the beginning, because these signs and symbols, they've changed them up. 3,000 years ago, this was a hated symbol. The people did not like them. They knew what they were. And imagine the Romans come and pretty much kill off everybody. So, when Rome took over, it took over by the sword, and it fought everybody who resisted this symbol right here. And through them, they have reemerged all the ancient old symbols. That's why the queen has it like this. They've brought back all the ancient, hated old symbols, and now they're symbols of admiralty, royalty, medical. All of it was ancient uh, evil symbols. The Nagas right here. That pole is the body. The beast man on the body on below is merging with the one on the top. You see the snake. You see the wings below. That is what you're looking at. So this is symbolic. The other picture is realistic. This right here is the exact same thing, but the wings aren't there. So I just wanted to show this part right here. So if you notice, the wild man is below, and this is the merging. So it's like the pole. The wild man has now changed into the regular man. So the regular man has this DNA in him. If you notice, there's a snake on the left and a snake on the right, but there's no pole. There's no not pole, but no wings. So the body is the pole, two snakes. If you look right here, there's the pole, there's two snakes without the wings right there. So we're talking about DNA factions, many different DNA factions that are in government today, that was kings and priests in the past, and was occultic things all the way back to the Egyptian time period. So this goes back 3,000 years ago. This snake, two snakes, the pole is the body. The two snakes is the DNA mixed in. If you look, there's the body. The body merged in with this wild man, the two DNAs, the two snakes, two snakes. Exact same symbol. It's just the pole doesn't have a body image. These symbols right here, they've literally mocking us with this right here, because you are conquered. So what I've came to understand is that being under Egyptian rule wasn't good. Being under Roman rule wasn't good. And reason being, and even under Nagas rule, it's because all of these people are bloodline beast animal people. They're not normal. So you have this black version of this wild man. These people who have this DNA. And if you notice, the bird wings is on the bottom, the snake is on the top, the body is in the middle. So it is just like this. Snake on the top, bird wings on the bottom, body in the middle. Same thing right here. They come black, they come white, they come Asian. It's a whole bloodline, and they sit in power, and they don't look normal. They don't look like me and you all the way. I mean, I say like this, her image, you know, she might look normal today, but I imagine that they had a rough appearance back in the past. So, you know, if you're searching for this today, they're not fertility gods. They're real entities, and they used to birth their kind. They used to birth their kind. And that's what this is right here. So this is all science. No matter how you look at this whole thing has always been science. No one is sleeping with a sheep. No one is sleeping with the animal. They are literally trying to create a superhuman. So the let us make man, obviously, there was something that was created that wasn't destroyed, that made an attempt and did attempt. And that's what this man could be, of creating their own kind, something that is better than man. And this is the reason why the angel is considered divine. I wanted to get down to this last two parts right here. In the movie Underworld, they was looking for a guy named Cornelius because he had a particular blood in him, and they were going to use that blood to merge it into other species. So this is uh the werewolf right here. He's looking for the Cornelius blood to mix in with their blood. You know, when you get right here, he is a vampire. So this is Blade 2. This is a vampire, and he's trying to do the same thing. You see, he has his species in his hand, and he's trying to continue his species. But if you notice from both ends, it's science. No one is sleeping with a sheep. No one is sleeping with the bull. It's science. It's this right here. It's science. So you have people out there who have this DNA, and they are actively working to keep themselves in power and to grow their kind. I hear a lot of stuff about in those underground bunkers, about them having genetic experiments. And now you're looking at something that has been going on for thousands of years. It might have stopped, but I think, like I said, the Egyptians were definitely these wild people. The Nagas was definitely these wild people. And I think the Romans are definitely the wild people. And they are still in power. If I can show you the queen with this pendant right here, the queen with this pendant, if I can show you that right there, then that lets you know that the wild people are still in power there and rule over us. Egypt is destroyed right here. This is Rome on top. So Egypt was the wild man. Now Rome is the wild man. And we're under Roman law, even though Rome isn't around. This bloodline still exists. So they live, we sleep, because we don't believe that this is existing in the world. They look normal, but their bloodline is different right there. So just take one more peek at this. That is what you're seeing. You're looking at a bloodline, and it's created. It's scientific. The people know what they're doing, and they are in power. So when you start to hear people conversate and say, well, we need to remove 1 billion people off the world, 9 billion people off the world, understand this species want your planet. It wants our planet. So I'm going to let that go right there. Definitely a part 5 is coming. I had to touch on that. That was a good request by that person. I also want to thank everyone. I've gotten over 30,000 subs, so definitely want to thank everyone on that right there. You're definitely not a number, so you're appreciated a lot. Part 5 is going to be very interesting. I've been trying to get to these crests, but it just, you have to address history. And I hope that I was able to show that and make those connections right there. So until the next time, thank you.